Hey, beautiful humans. We are back with another episode of Love Is. I'm Stacey Herrera, your host. Today, we are starting a special 4-part series that I'm calling Sexual Seasons because we should probably talk a little bit more about how sexuality isn't static. It ebbs and flows, it transforms, and it has seasons, just like nature. And understanding these seasons is evolutionary for how you experience pleasure and connection, especially in this season of our lives, right? Like now that we're midlife, we are definitely seeing changes in our bodies in the way that we experience sex, in the way sex feels, in our desire, our libido. So many things are changing. And that's why we're going to explore the sexual seasons. Today, we are talking about spring, sexual spring, which is that delicious season of reawakened desire. You know that feeling when you're wearing sweaters all winter, and then one morning, the sun just hits different, right? You feel a breeze on your skin, and you just feel more alive. The sun is kissing your face. That's what sexual spring is like. I remember after the end of a particularly significant relationship, I went through a period where my sexuality felt dormant, not like dead, right? It was just like quiet. And then one day I was at a farmer's market and this vendor handed me a peach to smell. It was such a simple thing, but the scent hit me. And I felt this rush of awareness. Look, I'm getting soul pimples just telling you this. But I felt this rush of awareness, like my skin tingled and the hairs on my arms stood up. And it was like some sleeping part of me just stretched and woke up. Sexual spring is like a blush of awakening desire. Think morning tingles. You wake up with skin that feels hypersensitive to touch, but not in a icky, uncomfortable, overstimulated way. It just like you can feel everything. You can feel the electricity coursing through you. Even the slightest shift in the air can spark arousal. In spring, desire bubbles up unexpectedly. You go from 0 to 100 real quick. The erotic potential is just on fucking fire. But spring doesn't just happen at the beginning of relationships. That's when we often experience sexual spring in a way that is noticeable to us, but it doesn't just happen at the beginning. It can show up anytime after healing from a health issue, when you've worked through some emotional blocks. It might happen after you exit postpartum, when you're reconnecting with your body. But sometimes it just happens for no reason at all. Your body just decides today is one of those days where I'm going to feel everything. Everything. That's the beautiful thing about sexual spring. It's newness. Everything feels fresh. A touch on your lower back that you might normally not notice suddenly sends shivers down your spine. The brush of lips against your neck makes your whole body come alive. It could just be watching a show and thinking, right? But spring can also be confusing, especially if you've been in winter for a while. You might wonder, where did this come from? What do I do with all this energy? Your partner might be caught off guard by this sudden interest or changing preferences. One of my clients, I won't call her Maria, I'll call her Sophia. She had been married for 15 years when she experienced sexual spring. And she said, I don't even know how to tell my husband that I want to try all these new things. He's going to think I lost my mind. And that's not an uncommon fear because it's real. Because sometimes these new desires might seem out of character. And that might be threatening for our partners. But here's what I told Sophia, and I'm going to tell this to you. Your sexuality is supposed to evolve. If it were static, it would be like a pond with no fresh water flowing in. It just gets stagnant, right? It's supposed to change. It's supposed to move through seasons. We are seasonal creatures, just like the earth. And so our sexuality also ebbs and flows and goes through different periods. That's normal. So, how do you navigate sexual spring? First, you do what I always tell you to do. Get curious. Get curious about your body. Spring is the perfect time to rediscover what feels good, not what felt good 5 years ago or what you think should feel good, but what actually lights you up today. So take some time to explore your body solo without pressure or expectation. Second, if you are partnered, communicate with your partner, but ease into it. You don't have to announce, I'm in sexual spring and everything's different now. But you can start with something like, I've been having these new feelings and feeling called to explore some new things, and I'd like to explore them with you. So you want to make it an invitation and not a demand. Third, you want to embrace the unpredictability. Sexual spring doesn't follow a schedule. Some days you might feel that electric sensitivity, and other days you might not, and that's okay and it's normal. Nothing's happening. You haven't lost it. You're just experiencing the natural fluctuation of desire. It's totally normal. And if you're single during sexual spring, this can be an especially powerful time because you get to explore this reawakening on your own terms without having to navigate another person's reactions or feelings. So use this time to get really clear about what you want. So when you do decide to share it with someone, you can do it with confidence. And if you're in a long-term relationship, again, sexual spring can be a beautiful opportunity to rediscover one another. You want to approach sexual spring with playfulness and patience. Just like at the beginning of spring, the warmth isn't continuous, it's inconsistent even sometimes. There can be sudden cold snaps, there could be showers, and your awakening desire might not follow a linear path either. And that's okay. The point isn't to try to rush to summer. It's to fully experience the beauty of things coming back to life. Because love is allowing your sexuality to evolve without judgment or fear. It's embracing the unpredictable nature of desire. We want to see it not as a problem to solve, but as a journey to explore. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about sexual summer, that season of intense burning desire. But until then, I'd love to hear from you. I want to know what sexual spring feels like for you if you've experienced it, what triggered it for you. Send me an email or leave me a voice note using the links in the show notes. Until next time, I love you.